first thing, before I get started, I have to say that you may have noticed that there is a little bit of a difference if you've seen on my other videos. In this video, it's very, very slight. And you might have to go back to my other videos to see what I'm talking about because it is so slight. So you might have to go back and watch them. Now there's 200 of them, so what I suggest that you do is to subscribe to the channel because you have to watch all of them, I think, to see the difference in this video from my other ones. Second one, what I'm going to be talking about today is this right here, these watches. These are my my favorites that I've been collecting over the years. I've started collecting when I was about 13, and let me see here, I got a little table here. My first watch I ever bought at a flea market was this Marvin Hermetic, which is the 700 movement. And ever since then, I've kind of got the bug and have been going on. First automatic was this Technos the King. Now, this wasn't the exact watch. In the video, I explained that I destroyed it as a kid, trying to think I could fix it, and that didn't work out, so it ended up in the trash. Recently hunted this one down, and the only difference really is the bezel was gold on the other one. Anyway, I was glad to have that. Now I'm hunting down Technos watches, and I just got the fourth one the other day, so now I'm at 4 of those. Anyway, on with the show. So what I'm going to be talking about is my favorite, like I mentioned before, my favorite watches, brands that are under $50 that you can still get today, depending on when you watch this video, for under 50 bucks. And I kind of narrowed it down to certain watches because of the ease of them to find, parts, if there's plenty of parts out there. If it's something that is difficult to find the parts, I'm not even going to mention it. Or if there's a brand that is kind of all over the place in the different movements, I'm not going to mention that either. And when I talk about these, I'm going to talk about the benefits and some of the things that you can find wrong. One of the things to take in mind, I have a 6.5 inch wrist, so mine will fit anything from, say, a small 31 millimeter watch, which will still look fine, to up to 41, 42, depending on the style of the watch. But if you got a fat wrist, if you got 7.5, 8 inch wrist, and you try putting a 31 millimeter watch on your wrist, it is going to look tiny. So I would not suggest, just beware. I don't suggest, you wear whatever the hell you want. I just keep in mind that, you know, if you do have a big wrist and you've been buying 43, 44 millimeter Invictas, and you like the size of that, and then you're just hunting around online for a vintage watch, be careful. Well, a lot of people don't tell you what the size is. You look at a picture and you can say, okay, here's a picture of a watch. I don't know, how big is it? Is it 30 millimeters? Is it, you know, let me grab another one here. You know, is it 36? Is it 40? You don't know unless they tell you, but keep in mind, generally these watches are from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they're generally going to be between 30 and 36 millimeters in size, which could end up being small for you. All right, so the first one that I'm going to be talking about, and these are no particular order, is Bulova. Bulova was founded in 1875, an American watch company, started in New York. It turned to Bulova Watch Company in 1923, and I think the first batches were Wyler, and then I don't know, Bulova is back here somewhere. So you got Bulova, and I did pick out a couple of them. You can find well, it's harder to find. This is, I think, the 23 jewel, 6 adjustments on this one. So I got all these back here. They're on a turntable because there's no other place in here that I can put the stuff that will actually fit these things without moving a whole bunch of stuff off. And so that's why they're on the turntable, if you're wondering that. And there's only so much I could fit there, so I got a mess of stuff here too. But this is an automatic, and I did check to see, because I got one recently in a watch lot, Bulova, and it was sitting over there. I don't remember where I was going. Anyway, oh, I know where I was going. I was trying to find a dial for it, and it was a self-winding, and I looked, and it seemed like all the self-windings now were over $100 or something. I was like, fuck that. Anyway, you have to bleep myself, I guess. Anyway, yeah, it's still sitting over there. But these have gotten expensive, but you can still find them every now and again. This one and I don't know, maybe that's the only one of these. Maybe that's the only Bulova I put here, because this is a damn mess. Yeah, I don't see anything else. All right, well, anyway, there's plenty of them back here. That's a Bulova. There's a Bulova right there. That's an automatic. There's another 23 Joule. Anyway, I need to move all that stuff. This has been sitting here for a week. Well, I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. So anyway, yeah, so the Bulova is the first one. Easy to find parts, plenty of them out there. They made millions of the things. Not an issue on that. They tend to hold up fairly well. I've got tons of movements and tons of parts, and that's another thing you got to watch out for is I repair my own watches. So the nicest words that I can see written down are as is, for parts, for repair, not working. And then I tend to buy them in lots of, 5, 10, whatever it is. And that kind of cuts down the price, because I can take whatever else and, maybe I'll keep it, maybe I'll sell it, maybe I'll just use it as movement. So anyway, so yeah, there's Bulova. And I was going to say something else about Bulova too, but I can't think of what it is. Well, if I think about it, I'll get back to it. That's fine. I usually have a cheat sheet in front of me, but then you don't see me looking at the cheat sheet. You see my fingers. All right, Bulova down. Wyler is the next one up. All right, this is the newest one. This is only 31.6 millimeters. And I have a lot of Wylers, and I bought a bunch of parts for it. These were made, well, they're all made in Switzerland. These are, I remember what I was going to say about Bulova. General rule, as far as men's watches, the calibers that they have they start with a number and then have like 10 BOAC. That's going to be a 10 line, and then there's 11 AC or 10 AX or whatever, and they have that's line, which means that the larger the number in the front, the larger the caliber of the movement. So if you want a man's watch, doesn't mean it's not going to be 31 or 32 millimeters, but you're going to want to look at 10 and 11. Now there is a couple of exceptions that I was thinking about when I was originally pointed over there and lost my train of thought. Was the larger one that I have over there actually has an 8-line movement in it, and this one, the square case over here, also has an 8-line movement in it. So 10 and 11, general rule, but not always the case. Those two with the 8-line movements are actually larger case sizes than the 10 and 11 line. All right, back to Wyler. Okay, so Wyler was found in Switzerland in 1924, and the thing about the Wylers, here's another one, there's a bunch of them back there too, is the Inkaflex balance in this thing. And the Inkaflex balance was designed by them to it's a shock absorber system for the balance, and they have advertisements where they dropped it off of the Space Needle in Washington, Seattle, Washington, and it survived. Unfortunately, half the ones that I have, well, maybe not half, but a good amount. And again, I've got parts. Actually, I was just playing with parts earlier. Have broken balance staffs. I don't know what happened. They were supposedly dropped them out of airplanes too. Not the ones that I have, but Wyler Veta. So that's why I like these, and you got a little bit of a story too. These are mostly based on ETA caliber movements, I think every single one that I have is an ETA caliber movement, but it has that balance, that kind of spiral look to the balance. I'm going to have a picture over here. If you get one of these with the broken balance, you're going to end up being in trouble, because it's going to be tough for you to find. You can't just throw a balance from an ETA in there. I mean, maybe you could. I've never tried it, but it's possible that the staff is different, and not the fact that the Inkaflex is what indicates that it has that spiral balance wheel, and it's not going to be an Inkaflex anymore, even if you can just kind of toss another ETA of the same caliber's balance in there to replace that. And another thing to watch out for is most of these, actually I think every single one that I have, save, well, there's one sitting on my bench over there, is a one-piece case, which means it's got a two-piece stem, and you'll see a lot of them with the crown missing. So if the crown's missing, that means part of the stem is missing as well. That's one of the things to look for. So there's two things to be cautious about Wylers. Still like them. I think in general they're, you know, great looking watches. I had one. Okay, yeah, here's a smaller one, and this one's got the sub dial. I've done videos on almost all of these. Not this one. I just got this one. But again, like I said at the beginning, you're going to go back and you're going to watch all of the videos, so you're going to see all of these anyway. All right, what do we got next? Wittnauer. Wittnauer would be the next one. Wittnauer is another American company. Well, it's Swiss, but it was founded in New York in 1885, and these all have Swiss caliber movements. I think they're all just Wittnauer movements. They partnered up with Longines, which is why you see Longines Wittnauer in a lot of places. Great movements in these things. I do not have any replacement movements that I can think of, but I think really well made watches. You see that one's really thin. And here's one with a rectangular case. I've got this one right here with a beautiful shell dial. I think that's one of my favorites. So yeah, that's the Wittnauer. I just think well made. How easy it's going to be to find parts, I don't know. So all of these, if you don't work on them yourself, you might want to find them working, but you still can find Wittnauers for under $50, and it's a great watch if you can find a nice one that's in really good condition. So all right, that would be number 3. Again, these are in no particular order, so that would be 3. All right, next up, Benrus. And let's see, Benrus, another company that was founded in the US in New York in 1921. These have, from what I see, most of them have ETA caliber movements in them. Again, because it's an ETA caliber, it's easy to find the parts. This one doesn't have that odd balance wheel or anything particularly special about it. Let's see, do I have another Wyler? Yeah, I think this is the only one, but I got a whole shitload of them back there. Yeah, so most of them have ETA calibers, so as far as finding parts, it's not going to be an issue if you need to find a movement. And a lot of them are in really good shape, good watches, stainless steel. And that's another thing about a lot of these watches, except for the Bulova so far, is the fact that, you know, a lot of them, this particular one, well, a lot of them have stainless steel cases, and they have the one-piece case. So again, if it's got a one-piece case, you got to keep an eye. Even though I haven't seen as many of the Benrus with the crown missing as I do with the Wylers. So it could be the way that they made the stems, or put the, you know, decided to do the stems. Anyway, and it also depends on the person, person likes to yank the thing out of there if they're setting the time, and next thing you know, the thing goes flying out of their fingers and into the street. That crown and that part of the stem is gone. So yeah, and another thing, a lot of these have written on the back, open through front. So you know not to take your little knife and start prying away at the back, that you got to remove the crystal. And again, when you do, watch all the videos. You'll see me mention that. Right, so that's Benrus. Nice looking watches. You see that one's pretty thin. This one looks like it's about 30, I'm going to say 33 millimeters on that. I already said I looked down here, but I got so much crap down here. All right, so let's move on to the last one. Try to make this as quick as possible, as painless as possible, because I know you're getting sick of looking at my face. That would be, this one I was going to say would have been my, I was thinking about putting it as a runner-up, or, you know, I just decided to just make it an even 5, and that is Elgin. Another American company, founded in 1864, and the reason I was going to do that was as a runner-up as opposed to one is Wyler is consistent, majority ETA if not all. Benrus, majority of ETA. There was one that has the EM 131 movement in it. I think when I made the video for it, I think I said EH 131, but it didn't have a caliber marking on it, but it did look like an ETA 1080. Elgin, again, these are all from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. I didn't go into the 70s. I'm not doing any quartz watches, and I'm not going to talk really about anything from the 30s. I might have something from the 30s. This is Elgin. I believe that's from the 30s or 40s. That's an Elgin, old Elgin from the 1940s. But then I didn't put any Elgins back there because I ran out of room. But here's one with a nice linen type dial. Here's one with a black dial. And the earlier Elgins used American-made movements. The later ones, I think, were pretty much all over the place. And that's one of the things. That's why I decided that, you know, I initially didn't want to put this in the list. I mean, they are good watches, but there's not the same consistency as with the other watches that I mentioned. So, but again, you can find them in really nice shape, you know, and good watches too. I mean, they're not crap. You can find them for under 50 bucks all day long, and whether you can find parts or not, depending on the watch, really. And then another thing is, you know, I was thinking about brands. You have Caravel, which is made by Bulova. You have Helbros. You have Waltham. I mean, there's a ton of different watches out there that you can find for under $50. I picked these because of what I mentioned. Ease of parts. You know, Helbros tends to be all over the place. They'll have PW movements in them. They'll have Lorsa movements in them. You know, French movements, German movements. And the same thing with Caravel. Is the movements are all over the place. Waltham is, I don't have many Walthams. I have plenty of Elgins. I mean, I've got, there's a pocket watch. There's a pocket watch. These are all 18 size pocket watches that I have for Elgin. And then here's another one. All these I have not done videos for, and they're just sitting in here waiting to be fixed. I have Elgin pocket watches. I have Elgin pocket watches over there. I've got 3 grade 303s over there. I've got more boxes over there. So when it comes to Elgin pocket watches, yeah, those are probably a lot easier to find parts for than the wrist watches, because they made a hell of a lot of them. Right, so anyway, yeah, like I said, you know, you got Helbros, Caravel by Bulova. You have Waltham. You have, I don't know, there's a lot, tons of different brands out there. And I'm in the US, so you could see that, what was it, Elgin, American-based company, Benrus, American-based company, Bulova, American-based company, Wittnauer, American-based company, but a Swiss company, but made in Switzerland. They're easier to find over here. If you're overseas, you may find a watch that I've never even heard of that you can find for 20 euros or whatever hell you're using for money. And it's just kind of what I can find over here. And again, I'm not going to recommend anything because this is what I like. And maybe sometime down the line, I'll probably not dislike any of these, but maybe find more that more that I like. But anyway, again, you have to go back and watch all the different videos that I've made to see how this video is different from them. And of course, subscribe, that's always important. And anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.